matchup happening in front of us with a spot in the playoffs on the line. Ninjas in Pyjamas going up against Rogue.
Yes.
Almost every team has clinched their spot at this point in the playoffs. In fact, I think we might actually have 7 teams. I think this might be the last playoff spot, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong, but...
T2 just qualified. I think we're definitely at the end. Absolutely at the end.
I believe we are. We've arrived, ladies and gentlemen. Ninjas in Pyjamas and Rogue going head-to-head. And what does their group look like? That is the real question. I can bring it up for you and go through it. Exet qualified just a little bit earlier with their victory over Damwon Kia.
Yep.
That leaves Rogue and Nip to fight for that second spot. Rogue only have 1 game left. It's do or die for them. Nip still have 2. If they lose this matchup, it's over. Rogue qualify. Nip will then play a not insignificant match, but pretty insignificant match against Exet up next. And by the way, here you are. Let me walk you through this. Nick, if you don't mind.
Okay.
I wish it was like a weather person.
Oh,
and I could gesture towards it.
Okay.
This is what needs to happen. So if Nip win this match in regulation, in order for them to qualify, they must defeat Exet 7-0 or 7-1. Nip need to win. If Exet wins 8-7, Nip still qualify. Or if Exet wins, they qualify too. If Nip wins this matchup 8-6, and Exet wins the next matchup, then Rogue qualifies. If Nip win 8-7, then 7-0 or 7-1 against Exet, which means that they basically cannot draw more than 1 round against Exet. Or Nip wins entirely. Then they go out into it. Rogue starts to win if Rogue win in regulation or if Rogue wins in overtime. If Rogue wins 8-7, the only way that Nip is capable of doing it is if in their next matchup against Exet, they get 1 or 0 rounds against them. That's it. I know it is confusing. The graphic will look better at the tail end of this matchup, I promise you.
You promise us?
I promise you.
Thank you.
But
so, to put it short, if we don't go OT, this is very straightforward.
Yes.
If we enter OT, it gets messy.
If we enter OT and Rogue wins, it gets significantly less messy, though.
Okay.
But we're going to keep that graphic up just so you can digest it. Because basically, if Rogue wins this matchup, Rogue is done for the entire week. Their groups are finished. And then they go on to the playoffs, and all of our 8 playoff teams are set. If Rogue loses, that's when things start to get a little messy. Because Rogue could still, even if Nip wins, Rogue could still technically make it.
Yeah.
It just depends how. Okay. So, however,
right.
if Nip wins in regulation, they make it through. So that's where we're at.
That's where we're at.
There we're at.
That is the lay of the land, if you will. And we also got a map to go over at some point, actually. Right?
We
because
do have a
haven't
map to
really
go to.
We
Yeah,
haven't discovered where we're
this
going
is the
just yet.
salient details that people need, though. That's what you're looking for here. Is you want to know who's going to qualify, when are they going to qualify, and how are they going to qualify.
Exactly.
So we provide it to you on your screen so you can see it for yourself.
See if it works.
That's why the graphic was up for like 2 minutes.
Wait, I got.
There we go. There you go.
There it is.
Hold on a second. Let's leave it up for 1 more second. Just so
One
the
more
people can
second.
Are you digesting?
Reading
you
the
digesting?
numbers, the letters. Yeah.
All right, let's get to the map vetoes then so you know where we're going to go, just because you want to get into the actual matchup. I know that you're excited. I know you're very excited. I'm excited for this matchup. The thing is that depending on what happens here, the next match, which is Ninjas in Pyjamas versus Exet, which you and I are going to be casting on this channel,
Yes.
could become an incredibly important match, or it could ultimately be largely, if not all, meaningless.
Yes.
We're going to Villa.
We are.
That's where we're going to be starting off. When you look at these 2 teams,
Oh, boy.
what comes to mind? I thrust you onto the spot
We're
all the
thrusting
time.
it. Okay, so...
We are thrusting.
To put it very simply, both teams play this map. They're both excellent at playing it, and I think
Which
it
map?
favors Villa. This map, aka Villa. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be like a 7-5, if not overtime. So I don't think it's going to be any easy task for either side. Of course, Rogue earlier had a bit of a struggle in the first couple of rounds and a very slow beginning to their success against Damwon Kia. But once they found their footing, it looked a lot better for them. But the one thing to note here is Rogue's defensive side has really been their weakness in recent history, and they're starting on Villa on the defense. Now, Villa as a map, you can argue that starting on defense is quite good, and I would say, yeah, I agree with that. You can at least get 3 rounds, maybe 4 if you're good. However, if you happen to be a team that is just struggling on that side of the map, it might not matter in the end. Either way, the sides have been chosen, and those we cannot change once the map starts. First operator ban is coming out from Rogue. It's a Twitch ban to target NIP. And then NIP themselves do a very basic default Thatcher ban that's going to make all the walls more difficult to breach, which means Kite is strong, Mute is strong. Now, Asami, Mira, and Valkyrie, I think, are the 3 big villains to look at right now for Villa. All very good at the map. Valkyrie goes off the table. Information now is limited. Verticality is less efficient. And then, of course, you gotta see Mira. Asami could be something else, but no. Ultimately, it will be the Asami off the board here. That's going to mean that Rogue will not have that on their first 6 rounds. But then when the side swap comes through, NIP themselves cannot, quote-unquote, abuse or utilize this specific operator that is Asami, because it makes the defensive half so much easier, as you can just change up the angles and do a lot of protective duties with that for both grenades, etc., etc., etc. So first round is underway. Very aggressive start already from NIP. Dokeabi, the Nook, the Finka. Then you get like the Kamikaze playing Zero. He's like complete opposite aspect here, but of course that can give you that quote-unquote flank watch duty with getting a bunch of information on the map, knife things to the floor, kill ADSs, etc. Rogue themselves also quite the aggressive lineup, bringing Thunderbird here in round number 1. That's going to help you if you take any chip damage, and help heal you back up. It's almost like a really good counter, what am I trying to say here? It's a good way to kind of fight against the Finka on the attacking side, because if they can heal, yeah, counter the Finka, there it is. Because if the attackers can heal and you can't, you're always playing at a, you know, the downside. So by bringing the T-Bird, both sides can heal. Chip damage won't matter as much. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Healing on both sides of the equation, one with Finka. Obviously, then the Thunderbird, as you pointed out, for Spoit. Spoit came alive in the matchup for Rogue earlier today towards the tail end of their Damwon Kia game. But it took a while for Rogue to start to look comfortable outside of Kanto Raketti, who, by the way, went and got a haircut between matches. I don't know if you've noticed that, but Kanto Raketti, a.k.a. Lanto Raketti, decided, I've got some time to kill, 3 hours between matches. I'm going to go to the barber, and he looks... That looks kind of nice.
He does look kind of nice.
He looks kind of nice, if I'm
I don't
being
think
frank.
I've ever seen that happen between games on the same day before, actually. That's a first.
Former player on Ninjas in Pyjamas, Julio, is the coach of Furia. Furia qualifying for playoffs not too long ago. His replacement, Wizard, showing up in the way that the team needs. Very first casualty is Cryan, a match that is of critical importance for both of these teams. To lose Cryan early after what he did earlier today, unideal. Those big burly arms will not be very effective for the next 2 minutes.
They will not. Because Kanto and Cryan is the 2 main villains for Rogue against Damwon Kia, both having so much success. This grenade, however, didn't do any damage because he's on the table. Boosted up and elevated, good trip from Kamikaze, push on through, but doesn't stop there. He's going to go further.
Kamikaze walking into the bomb site, but there's a good cross being held. He's been downed. Is he retrievable? That's the question. Pino and Muzi and Spoit and Deepak are the 2 on either side, as Kamikaze will continue to bleed out unless they can secure. Deepak looks the wrong way. A 3rd kill for Pino. Spoit now to clutch out. Can we see Heroics? No. Muzi's waiting by 90. That's 1 round. Nib absolutely need this. They get round number 1. They start off strong.
Mind you that Latin teams in general, what we call warm-blooded people, they also thrive off momentum because they're so passionate. We can hear it already now. 1 round on the board. NIP, they're screaming, they're clapping, they're celebrating because every single round is so important to them. They understand that you got to embrace the moment.
There are not every single team, or not every single playoff team has been decided yet, because we're still looking at the group with Wolves as well to be decided.
That's right.
Wolves, OXG, and Game & Gladiators are all in a group. OXG being, I believe, eliminated from the option of making each playoff?
Actually, I believe they can still make it if Wolves lose.
Really?
I believe Laxing told me that. Although, actually, no, that must be wrong.
I don't know if they've been eliminated or not.
I'm going to double check, because I actually don't know if they can anymore. I feel like they went to OT, maybe that's why. They did go OT against Gaming Gladiators.
The matchup ended. Gaming Gladiators might be able to still qualify, by the way. The matchup ended, and then we immediately came over here to start prep for this, so we weren't able to do the mathematics.
I'm checking.
You are indeed checking. An unsuccessful defense of Trophy or an unsuccessful defense of Aviator moves them over to Trophy and Statuary for Rogue's 2nd attempt. Not uncommon to see quite heavy play down underneath the bomb site. That's where Deepak is setting up. Reinforcements being used and Mute Jammers going in to try and deny intel. Whether he'll be assisted by another teammate is anybody's guess. Pino taking a bit of damage from the sounds of an MP5. I'm assuming that's Kanto Ricchetti. I could be wrong. Maybe it was Deepak engaged in that first engagement. Not sure. That's something that a little adrenal surge won't fix. You get Pino back up to tip-top shape. They're using their drones on the top floor right now. Do you have anything to add?
So as far as I understand, I think if Wolves lose like 7-0 and actually like win 7-0, I think they can still make it. And they're not like redded out on Wikipedia either, so I think there's still a chance. Because of the round tip for GG, I don't think they can make it. That's my understanding.
Gaming Gladiators are indeed out of the running. OXG.
They're in, right?
Could potentially still make it, yeah.
But
absolutely.
highly unlikely. They would need Wolves to get slaughtered.
Smarter people. As long as OXG win and then win dominantly with that round differential, there's a possibility that they can still make it. But Gaming Gladiators, we said goodbye to. And yes, because OXG made it into overtime, even though they lost, still putting up some valuable points. Rotero drones going in to clear out some of these pesky gadgets that have been set down by the defenders. One was a bulletproof camera that we saw. Kamikaze piloting one yet again. 3 of the 4 have been used. The initial attempt from Nip is upstairs, and there it goes. Say goodbye. Excellently pinged by Pino. That coordination from Nip, so strong. Rogue lost the initial matchup on Bank to Ninjas in Pyjamas, which is what prompted that Spoit tweet calling Nip rats, saying they were playing like rats, angering the Brazilian fan base. Nice shot from Kanto Ricchetti. It seems like he's still in fine form, benefiting from that haircut buff right now. Got to get the hair out of your eyes to see clearly, right?
That's a good point, I suppose. Moosey playing the nuke downstairs, creeping around, might find a member of Rogue, as there's a member inside of that memo room below. That's going to be a vertical player of either Sport or David, I believe, that outline as well. But Pino, with these grenades, trying to find for the second member. That right there is not going to find much, but Sport finds Wizard instead.
2 nades go out. Spoit a big kill. Deepak cannot follow up onto Musi, so answered back. These teams trading blows with one another, nobody gaining a significant advantage. A common spot next to the trophy. Statue, whichever you'd like to call it. It's no longer there. So Nip's push will come from over towards Astro. Looks like the bomb site is not mostly clear, but Kanto holding a rat angle of his own. He gets pre-fired by Psycho. No crossfire potential. Spoit's second kill. Could he go for a third? No, it's not there. Pino guns him down. Suddenly it's a 1v1. Cryan with 11 bullets versus Pino on the LMG. 41 still there. Who'll swing first? He's waiting out the time. Cryan playing this quite adeptly, and Pino has no information. Rogue ties the game.
Well done for Cryan there, playing time. He understood that he doesn't have to take the gunfight, and even if you try to stick that diffuser, Cryan did have a C4 he could rip and toss out, and that is likely going to prompt NIP off the case. Well done. You don't really want to take any fights that you don't need to against a team like NIP, because they are some of the straightest shooting players in Rainbow Six Siege. It's why they've had such a dominant run that has 2.5 years in the space, and why they're always a team that is going to threat those playoff spots and, of course, making the majors. NIP themselves didn't have the greatest year domestically in LATAM in the beginning, but once they get to best of 3s in the CES qualifier, that's typically where NIP they show up every single time. It's how they find themselves qualifying for the major international events. So I am curious to see if NIP were to make our groups. Is there going to be a significant change from the performance from best of 1s to best of 3s? Because that's a big question we have for pretty much all the teams here, is that some teams will just happen to play better in a certain given environment than the other.
10 seconds to go.
Something that we can find out in just a few days. Of course, today's the final day of groups. Tomorrow is a day off. We do some interviews, some content, we rest. Then Friday, the action begins for real for the 8 teams that qualify. And the people that are actually going to be here, Parker, which you will not.
I will not be here, that is correct.
I will not be here.
Sadly, I will be departing.
Yes, you will be going back home to Canada. We'll miss you dearly. We'll think about you. And we'll maybe make some tweets about you, too.
It's really nice of you to say that, man.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Either way. Whether I'm here or not, the show will go on.
That's true.
And that is more than okay. Teams going back and forth. Trophy statuary, the bomb site that just was played on. It was a victory for the defense. Aviator Games remains open, and that's where, for the second attempt, Rogue will hope for better fortunes. First logic bomb goes off. Cryan heard, sitting on top of the Malusi Banshee. But nobody's going to provoke him. Nobody's going to push him. Good patience. 1 minute burned off of the clock. Kanto Raketti in a rat corner of his own, but he'll lose some of the protection and fire back to Wizard through that now open window. Cryin taking damage from a grenade tossed on in, but the Mozzie will scoot away. That seems to be it for the first incursion.
These drones, man, IP is finding so much value. I mean, Rogue, it must feel like they always know where they are, because every time somebody from Rogue stands still, a grenade gets tossed out. This time, Cryin stays alive, thankfully for him, and with the T-Bird being up, he can get back to full HP back on site. Now, Daypek, even though being on the pole table, will still take a chunk of damage from that second grenade. That one was fired blindly from Pino, perhaps based off sound, no Yellow Pingos had, but still, NIP's drones right now are lethal, if you will. 6 drones still to go, so more than half. Half now, there's only 5 are left. Pino looking for that second grenade toss. Just trying to figure out exactly where to toss it. Musi made his way to 90, he's in a great position. But Psycho finds Sport with that nade again. Once again, these grenades doing so much damage.
There's a flash on the Kanto Raketti. He's blinded out. You can see it in his face cam, and he's as good as dead. Finished up by Wizard. That's 2 kills to start things off by Ninjas in Pyjamas. So far, perfect on their entry, getting first blood in all 3 rounds. Cryin healed back up thanks to the Kona stations that were there after surviving that first onslaught, which saw a grenade dropped on his lap. Another grenade tossed in, but the intended target miles away. A crouch now as Deepak sees the head, but for a second cannot nail the shot. But Leon Gids and Cryin are good for it. Before Leon Gids returning to the bomb site is cut down to size by Musi. That allows Deepak to rotate over towards Vault. Cryin slaughtered at the top of the stairs. Suddenly Deepak will have to clutch out in a 1v3. Nip don't usually let you live long in this situation. Deepak seems to be surviving, but they have a good idea as to where he is. They'll take the gunfight to him. 1 kill, but Musi immediately trades it. That Nook split push works out quite effectively, and Nip regain the lead.
That they do. Regain it, but it's in a short burst because no one's gaining any significant lead yet, as it's a back-to-back, or rather each team getting around at one at a time. Rogue, again, on the defensive side, not finding too much success, just like they didn't earlier. The real question is really going to be the second half of Villa for both of these teams, because that is going to be the defining last couple of rounds, but also NIP defending on Villa can really also go in 2 different ways, because sometimes NIP will find themselves a little bit too eager, a little bit too aggressive, a little bit too far front forward, and that's when they start losing those man advantages. So far for NIP, their attacks have been really well coordinated, clearing out Kanto on the red stairs with 2 to 3 flashbangs, 1 person below, 1 person above, completely isolating Kanto Raketti and getting a freebie on the round. That's great. Then the information game with the drones combined with the grenades from below, that's finding them a ton of value as well. And while we're going to be discussing the value of the rounds, we're also taking a quick rehost to ensure that everybody can use their drones during the drone phase. But we have learned the art of rehost. The players have been super quick at leaving and then rejoining. We're typically back within a minute and a half, which is almost like record speed. Whereas sometimes some players will go for a walk, they'll go to the bathroom, and then all of a sudden it takes 10 minutes to get a rehost going. But Rogue already here, and IP is joining swiftly as well. We'll be back in no time.
Well, it's just a bit of a brief pause.
Yes.
Keep in mind that the players cannot talk to their coaches during these rehosts.
That is true.
There's always some confusion based on who is watching as to whether or not can you talk to them when there's a break in action. No, is the answer. The coach can only speak with the team when a timeout is called. The team is free to talk with each other, but that's as far as it goes. A formidable start by Ninjas in Pyjamas, by the way. All 3 opening picks breaking in their favor, as was spoken about. Close rounds, somewhat. Round number 1, round number 2. Round number 2 as well, Rogue's win was a game of keep away for those that have been following along. If you're just tuning in right now, the stakes very high for these squads. The winner basically guarantees themselves a spot in the playoffs. If Rogue win, they go through. Ninjas in Pyjamas are looking to be the 4th of 4 LATAM teams to play in the playoffs. Ooh. Have we ever had an event where of the 8 finalists, 4 of them have been from Latin America? Because my memory, which is my quick memory, which could be wrong, I don't recall.
I can count 3. I cannot count 4. We've had 3 before, right?
We definitely have 3.
Definitely. I don't think we've had 4 ever, no.
I don't know if SI counts as well because there's 5 teams from each region there. Or well, at one point LATAM had 6 teams at SI 2021, right?
Oh yeah, because it's like they won. It's because like they won the major, get a spot extra, or whatever. Is that how it happened? There was like some sort of rule, I believe, where. Either way, round 4 underway. Also, just want to point out that we spoke about the Sport tweet about NIP hiding in corners, playing like rats or whichever. And then we had Kanto in that previous round doing that exact same thing in the master bedroom closet, saying, if I don't get droned here, it's a freebie. But the thing is, again, NIP's drone work has been phenomenal so far. And it's a very important step on Villa. So many corners, so many nadeable positions, and just having information to work with to then make your decisions based off of rather than going in blind is obviously a massive deal breaker at this level of play in Rainbow Six Siege. And that's why Kamikaze is also playing 0 half of these rounds, because that's going to give you more information. But information that Musi did not have. He was creeping in the basement all alone, and Cryan this time comes out the victor, where in the very opening round of Villa, it was the other way around. Musi's in the grave, Nukes off the board, that's 2 grenades gone that NIP can no longer use from down below. And that seems to be where the focus is, because Psycho's droned it out. Pino currently is also droning it. They're going to try and get downstairs, throw out some grenades, fish for a kill, and try and work their way up the main stairs and work on office itself. So an opposite attack from the previous, looking good so far.
Logic bomb comes out. Grenade goes in. It's a simple equation. Doesn't connect, though. Leon Gid's far enough away as well. That grenade would have hit the Aruni gate, the Surya gate, and been taken away. Aruni obviously functioning as she gets downed by a grenade as a sort of object denial. And they will continue to just rain on in all of these nades trying to hit their marks. D-back could be recoverable depending on where in the bomb site the rest of the team are. And there you go. He's back up to snuff thanks to Cryan.
Yep. Thank you for helping a fellow teammate. But the thing is, Bart this time has been Capcan, not the Thunderbird, so no healing is available. Daypick will be stuck on 20 HP. Sport is in a gunfight, but there's support there from Cryan. The duo, they get the kill. It's now a 5v3 lead for Rogue.
Damage being done. A second kill from Cryan. Leon Gids means that, well, Cryan's not going to get more than 4 as Leon Gids is shut down. 3v2 favoring Rogue right now with Kanto Raketti sitting on the bench. A drone is in. Kamikaze trying to gain some information off of it. Is he capable of doing so? He's got Psycho there for backup. Both players from NIP currently inside of study. No real pressure outside of that. Waiting as ever patient as they can be. Drone that was located in the corner by Model's been repositioned. It spots the Capcan of Spoit. That's some information. Could be gone, though, in seconds. You have 5 seconds or so to act upon that. NIP, right now, just standing pat. Very slowly juggling their way in, trying to peek back and forth. Deepak takes down Kamikaze. Psycho's last one in there. Spoit decides to swing. It's a bit anticlimactic. Took a while for NIP to find their footing, but Rogue equalizes. Both teams very vocal when they win, trying to fire themselves up and keep themselves in it mentally. Took 3 attempts, but finally Aviator goes into the win column of Rogue. That bomb site will be locked for the remainder of this half. And just like that, Rogue will run back to the other bomb site that they won previously, Trophy Statuary.
There's a great crossfire from Rogue as well, because NIP did a really good job at trying to bait out someone to swing on the top red side. That was Sport sitting there. So playing one person top red, one person vault, and then Daypick on that bar gaming desk essentially is establishing a triple-way crossfire. And Rogue understood they didn't have to move a muscle. They had to let NIP walk deep into the bomb site, maybe try and plant the diffuser, then swing when there's only one gun watching them. It's a good reading of the situation. NIP tried to bait it out likewise, but Rogue came out on top. We're tied back in the series. Trophy bomb site. Last time, of course, we did see Rogue finding success. It was Cryan in the 1v1 clutch. 1 on time. So NIP were doing a little bit slow progression throughout the map. Daypick fell downstairs below. Could not win his gunfight against the Nuke. Only one C4 left as Spot went for a C4 spawn peek on the fountain. Which, I don't know if you saw the tweet, Parker, from Jazzman.
Okay.
but he made a tweet from that was Razor Breaking Bad about like Jesse don't spawn Fountain because you get C4 or whatever. And did you see it?
Did not.
Oh my god, it got like 6,000 likes. It was like, it popped off. It was really funny. Essentially, it was a reference to the fact that if you spawn Fountain where NIP just spawn with 3 members, it's a very high likelihood that you're just going to get a C4 tossed in your face the moment you step out of spawn. It's why NIP stood still for the first 5 to 7 seconds to wait for that C4. Once it popped, that's when they moved forward.
Thank you for informing me.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it a lot.
I'll show you it later. It's very nice.
Part of that trophy wall has been left open. It's the statuary wall, trophy statuary. I have a bad habit of calling a bomb site by its first name. So trophy statuary, everything is trophy.
I feel like that's pretty common, actually.
Laundry supply, everything is laundry supply.
Yeah.
Dorms? Dorms, because I don't want to say the word kids' dorms because we've been through this a billion times.
Yeah,
I don't need to defend it any longer. Sounds inappropriate.
Yep.
Certain things being said after it. Leon Gidd's the leadoff pick. Rogue had surrendered first blood first 3 rounds. They have found something to get themselves back on the board. And my goodness, imagine the first pick being against a Kali.
Yep. Thing is, wall's already opened up. Cleared out the jammer. Muzi gets crime. It really is a Muzi versus crime in these 1v1 scenarios.
Muzi fat-fingered, by the way, when he's trying to take out the goo mine in his foot. Leon Gidds picks up a second kill onto Pino. Rogue in good shape. Muzi low HP as well. Kanto Raketti in a rat spot of his own. How do you beat Nip? Well, you play them at their own game and then you beat them. Lots of rat angles from Rogue. I can just feel the salt of the fans. If Rogue wins, based off of rat plays, I can feel the salty replies on social media already.
And that's a true statement. Wizard makes his way in through with that stun. Sport has actually got misdroned in his corner, so again, ratzing around seems to be the gameplay right now. But, well, the one person who's not standing still, he gets shut down. That was day pick from Wizard.
But they gain valuable information from that. They know that Wizard is over towards Astro. They don't know exactly where Muzi is. But if you recall, Muzi really likes to go with the path less traveled. Oh, he's on the hunt with Kanto Raketti. Kanto's looking the wrong way. No! The Nook just in good shape. A grenade gets tossed out. Leon Gidds will need to move. Baited perfectly into Kamikaze. Nip's mid-round has been flawless. That leaves the Phenom to try and toy with it. Spoit missing out on the head as the plant is going down. Can he reposition in time? Yes, he can. Spoit? He's just got Muzi left. A name that hasn't been on our lips, on the tip of our tongue for very long, but now here he is to prove why he's one of the best players in the world. A huge clutch from Spoit to give Rogue the round.
Eyes in his veins, saw the plant came down, figured I can just sneak up on this balcony right now and get that one tap and shut down the plant because there's no cover from NIP. A huge 1v3 for Sport. That's going to gain some confidence in this matchup.
Wow. Just as we were complimenting Ninjas in Pyjamas through their mid-round, it gets completely flipped on its head with Rogue making a surge. These individual performances from Rogue. Earlier today, we saw Cryan put in a couple good clutches. We saw the same from Leon Gidds. We saw Kanto Raketti pull off 1 or 2, and Deepak had a big moment as well. Spoit was consistent, but nothing really flashy. That might not have been the flashiest of plays, but by God, was it entertaining. Congratulations to Spoit and friends on that wonderful round victory. Spoit is yet to die since the rehost. He's the only player in the server who can say that. Not too bad, even though it's only been 2 rounds, mind you. Rogue have at least tied the first half of Villa. Where does that put us for the side swap?
Honestly, if you get 4 rounds in defense, I think you're off for a great position here. 3-3 is what I said earlier on, like the expected outcome, if you will, and I think both teams can walk away happy with that. The big question mark here comes that if Rogue goes up 4-2, the mental game is in their favor. They just clutched that round. If they win this one as well, NIP is not only at a disadvantage in rounds, but also they lost a round they should have never lost, which is a mental chalk for sure. NIP, as I said, passionate team. And sure, they have experience, but as far as we understand from them, they can sometimes get inside their own head when they're finding these frustrating things inside the game and inside these rounds. Already see it here, Muzi fighting for his life, does no damage but takes a bit, forces out that first adrenal surge.
To deal with the chip damage that is accomplished by Afinka or anybody else, and in order to match Afinka, yet again a Thunderbird will come in, a staple of Rogue's defense so far, and an operator favored by Spoit 2. A clutch happened with that spear. A bit ironic, by the way, that the operator on defense rocks the same gun that Finka has access to,
Yeah.
but you're hard-pressed to see a spear be used here. Kanto Raketti in the exact same spot against Musi. This is a mirror match, except Musi's on a different operator. No Nook this time around. Musi seems to think somebody might be in that corner, and he decides to engage, but he's fighting shadows at this point. That means that Cryan will have to find some safe passage down below. He drops...
Oh, these
oh,
rat
no,
plays.
no,
The
another rat
Konis!
play. Spoit almost losing out on it, by the way. He fears a follow-up, and he's right to think that. Musi hot on his trails, and Nitro Cell goes off. Does that grab the attention of Ninjas in Pyjamas? That's the real question.
Kanto and Cryan inside of 90 tried to make a bait play as well, but Kanto got a little bit too far front and forward and got shut down instead and tried to run for the hills. Leon finds Psycho, and now Cryan and Spot are gathered up once more as the duo, trying to get back onto the bomb site because we understand now in a 4v3 with only a minute to go, the site is relatively safe. Sledge does not have that much time to break open the floor, and IP don't have that great of a position on this map to really advance forward either.
Sledge is the only soft destruction that's left, given that the first two casualties for Nip were both an Ashe and a Zofia. So, well, you've got those 40 seconds, as you said, to try to do as much damage as you can and maybe flush out the defenders from the common spots down in and around that kitchen bomb site. Can he get comfortable? That is the real question. Final Adrenal Surge goes out. It gives Musi a little bit more HP, still far from full. Kona stations surrounding the bomb site, or maybe even in the bomb site, will give Rogue a little bit more staying power themselves. Leon Gids finds a pick on Pino. Suddenly it's Kamikaze and Musi. That soft destruction is totally gone from the board for Nip. So Musi will need to take matters into his own hands. Kamikaze with Diffuser. No hope whatsoever. Leon Gids a triple before Spoit closes the first half. Rogue up 4-2.
That's the best Rogue could have hoped for. 4-2 scoreline, a clutch on the table, they win their final defensive side, and they're actually looking really good on defense in the later half once they've woken up. I think it's a matter of reading out your opponents. Now, NIP gotta do that same job. Play your first defensive round, feel out Rogue and how they're going to be playing, then adjust yourself round by round to counteract what the opponent is doing. Now, it all comes down to operators first and foremost. What kind of operator lineup is Rogue going to bring? Is it going to be 6 grenades from below? Is it going to be a lot of hard breach? It's going to be a lot of looking for roamers like a Jackal or Dokeapi? That's what NP has to figure out first and deal with that situation. Right now, Rogue is showing a single hard breach of Ace, then 6 grenades and a Dokeapi to gain information if you get a kill, hack the cameras, etc. NIP setting up a one-way hold right now on the top red stair, so a big priority, expecting Rogue to come from the master bedroom side, investing both 2 ADSs, a piece of barber on the red stairs, and a shield above that as well. If Rogue sees this, they could just go on the study side on the south-hand side of the map and just completely circumvent that entire setup because there's only one shield available for the side of NIP. Rogue's got a decision to make, and Psycho got a spawn peek to seek out. It looks like it could be successful, but no, he falls off. Not want to risk it any further, as 9 seconds have gone by. Rogue, they stay alive because it took a second to chill in spawn, not just sprinting into the arms of Ninjas in Pyjamas. Cryan did change his operator around onto the Amaru, and Dapek went onto a soft breach of Sophia instead of the Dokeabi. Bit of a change up. Latsam themselves do play a ton of Amaru on Villa. Jump in that 90 window, mid-execute, cause a distraction, maybe get a kill, and create that chaos effect.
And Cryan's been having a pretty good day so far.
Yes.
So he's feeling it. Why not go for the hop-in? Spoit the first to fall for Nip. That must feel like they just killed a giant with the way that he's played, and that's actually his first death in the last 3 rounds. The first since the rehost came in. Musi was pushed out of his position over by Art Studio and now has a pathway to get around the map relatively quickly due to the rotations that were caused by impacts. He's got backup down below. Looked like Wizard wasn't too far off of the beat. Rogue will need to flush these 2 players out before they can get control of that first floor. Cryan instead will just hop on in over towards living room. A bit unorthodox to use an Aruni or an Amaru in that fashion. Usually you want to Amaru towards 90, as you said, but that is not the case.
Gotta seek out the roamers right now, but Musi has a 6th feeling right now, and Psycho doing some vertical damage as well to the floor. Means that Cryan too thinks that they know where he is. T-Vol came here, could spot him out, but no one's on it.
Instead, Pino's ready for both of them. How do you not flush that out? Kanto Raketti and Leon Gids just walk right into their bullets. That's the super special, baby. Nip in a 5v2, looking in a commanding position with over a minute to go. a very quick round. Rogue obviously wanted to set a pace that would be hard to match. Cryan, the next one involved on that shot. He lands it on a Pino. Good recoil control. That leaves 2 players from Nip down below. It means that Rogue and Cryan, if they do head upstairs, would be in a glorified 2v2, but the Malusi still roams. They can't seem to find him. Wizard there is the backup. Down he goes. Deepak inside of Study, waiting for the rest of the team to find their footing, but they have slipped and they have plummeted off the face of the cliff. Musi cleans things up. Nip wins their very first defense, and they get 1 round away from tying it.
That right there is essentially just a super aggressive hold from NIP. The 3 roamers down below shut down over 6 drones in the first minute, got the opening kill, and Rogue could not find any foothold on the first floor of the map. They were forced to run up the red stairs and gamble the 50-50 gunfight twice. And both times they lost it, because Pino found both members that walked up the staircase, and that shut down the entire push from Rogue. And Cryan couldn't really get much done with the Amaru. Went in on the first floor to try and get a flank going. Musi read it out, called for Psycho for vertical support. He made those holes with the Aruni on the defensive side, and that forced Cryan off the position as well. One shield being brought out once again inside the master bedroom, and a second shield on the bomb site itself. So NIP again giving a strong hold on one side with utility, and then likely rotating a bunch of physical utility, aka bodies, on the opposite side of the map. So I'm expecting them to do exactly what we're seeing right now on site, then putting 2 or 3 members likely on the office side later on the round, or perhaps even playing inside the master bedroom closet. 2 jammers spent, a cancel barricade, as well as a rotate. This could be a heavy master bedroom hold. The great thing is, if Rogue sees this, and then choose not to go here because that's what the full setup is like they did last round, well, you're going to have master bedroom control the entire of the round for NIP, because even if Rogue were to rotate there later in the round, there is so much utility you got to deal with. You can't just have 1 or 2 members there. You would need a ton of utility, a ton of backup, at least 3 members. Deepak, fast in 90, gets spotted out, takes a bit of damage, but stays alive.
Zamaru again using that hook shot to get up as quickly as you can. And yes, I'm going to keep calling it a hook shot because I was raised on The Legend of Zelda, baby, so to me it's always a hook shot. Always has been. Grappling hook, I suppose, is what most normal human beings will call it. The Amaru experiment is not really working out for these 2 rounds. I think it's been a resounding failure, and that's a vital piece of utility that Rogue does not have. Instead, the go for the throat style of play in which they forego a hard breacher entirely does not prove to be at the level of success that they want.
I always say I feel like as an IP, you gotta play together, right? You don't want to go 1v1 against the likes of Musi, Kamikaze, Psycho, etc. You want to get 2 guns against one, and then if anything, you trade out 1 for 1, because every single member of NIP is so capable in these 1v1s. And sure, Rogue is known as an aggressive and heavy, gun-heavy team in the EUL, but EUL compared to LATAM is a different kind of story in this department. So again, Rogue, gotta bundle up. Get a duo at your 6, swing together, and try and leverage the numbers in your favor, because right now you're losing your ones.
Just past the halfway mark right now. Spoit assessing what options he has. A nade goes in. Down goes Psycho. A lot of quiet. Rogue is finding that one of the bomb sites is completely empty, and Kanto Raketti toys with the castle. He's had a bad stretch here over the last couple rounds and is still searching for his first kill since the rehost came in. Not, I think, the result that Rogue wants from their high-flying performer. Spoit gets taken down by Nitrocell from Pino. It could be a complete brawl, but look at Cryan. He's flying under the radar. Down below, Adrenal Surge gives Rogue a little bit more health than they had before. 30 seconds to go, and Kanto Raketti will work forward. Nice shot on the Wizard. There's his kill. A second could be found, but a smoke will cut off the line of sight. Now Nip will scramble to get into the bomb site with very limited visuals. Cryan down below, spotted by Musi. That's a beautiful shot. It's Kanto Raketti in a 1v3 as Leon Gids bleeds out on the floor, and Pino slams the door on a Rogue's hopes. 4-4, tie game.
Beautiful swing from NIP. The synergy and coordination right there. 3 members alive, swinging 1 by 1, forcing Kanto to flick between 2 different angles with only 21 bullets in that ARX. Essentially means no shot you're going to win. Rogue now calls a tactical timeout because they got some things to discuss. This is again the second half. These are the final couple of rounds. Rogue can only go back on defense if we were to enter OT. But of course, they want to win in regulation.
Milos just showed up, by the way. Everybody please say hello to Milos.
Hello, Milos. Nice
Milos,
to see you.
what German words are you going to use to say to the audience, by the way?
Hallo, wie geht's dir?
Maybe some Ich liebe dich?
Ich liebe Kartoffelsalat.
Oh!
Who doesn't like Kartoffelsalat, huh? You know what?
You smell like fresh fruit.
Thank you.
You smell really nice.
Well, I won't say what you wrote on your tablet for me, but...
Please don't.
I said something
smells
nice.
There's an
really
urgent
bad
message.
in
It was a compliment.
It smells like feet in here. What's going on?
Oh, that's
Oh,
weird.
don't even start with me. It's hot out. Half of us were casting in shorts and flip-flops. What do you want? Goodbye, Milos.
Goodbye, Milos.
Ian Chambers was here earlier today. It's nice to see the actual crew start to roll in. I think this is when the FOMO for me kicks in, by the way.
Yeah. Fear of missing out.
That is what FOMO means.
Yes.
That is
In
correct.
case anybody was curious what FOMO meant. Yeah.
Yes, it means fear of missing out. I know we're on like a 3, 4, 5 minute delay, something along those lines, but if you don't flood the chat with hello, Milos, I'm going to be very disappointed in all of you. That is correct. You will not get tucked into bed tonight, I promise you.
Oh,
I will turn out the light and I will not check for monsters under your bed.
that is so
That's-
messed up.
That's a promise. If you don't say hello to Milos. Ninjas in Pyjamas on their third defense. Successful on Aviator, successful on Trophy. So where do they go? Down to Kitchen. The same 3 bomb sites being brought out by these teams. We don't see a living room library just yet. I don't know if we will, frankly.
Not sure either. I think it's one of those that if we go the distance, you gotta bring out something spicy, to swap things up, because once you're familiar with the setup that the enemy is doing, it becomes a lot easier the second time around, unless they change everything themselves. So I think in that kind of scenario where somebody wants to throw the chaos effect into play, we could maybe see a living library, but it is a very low pick rate, also low success rate of a bomb site on Villa. Rogue doing the best to drone out the first floor horizontal attack so far, droning out Memo. But the vertical angle opened up right there. Just means trouble is on the horizon because we need vertical control now for Rogue to get access to the first floor. First minute burned. Rogue are not inside the building, not really. Cryan just entered across the map and he's going to be fishing for a kill, but every other member of Rogue is so far away and again, all outside. So Leon gets to call the troops over. Kai Claw stops the breach. No can do. Ken's going to bounce an 8 off this desk, most likely trying to fish for that Kai Claw. The thing is Kai Claw could be in multiple spots. On the wall, behind the wall, inside the closet it looks to be. So these grenades are not going to do anything. But Leon gets this wall. You cannot open it, my friend.
Kamikaze will stop Spoit in his tracks with that toxic canister thrown out as we hit the halfway point of the round. Things all tied up. Pino, nice shot onto Leon Gids. Will the timeout work? That is the real question. So far, the answer is no. You were talking about how he couldn't open it up because the single hard breach was being thwarted by the electricity of the Electric Claw and the setup that we saw from Ninjas in Pyjamas. Well, now you don't have one body, and a second will join Spoit after that incredible performance. He's been awfully quiet.
It's true. Pino almost takes the head off Kento Rakedi, who's having, as you also mentioned, a tougher second half so far. 1 and 5 to his name. Hit a nice shot earlier. Finds another one onto Pino now. We need a lot more than this. Doors being barricaded. NIP comfortable in these corners and with the flank as well. Wizards finds Cryan. It's desperate times for Rogue.
Only 3 kills between Kanto and Deepak left, but in bikes, Kanto Rakedi under fire. Wait,
Okay.
walks right in with Deepak and takes down Psycho. Rogue storming the gates here. They have control of the bomb site. And with Deepak holding on to the diffuser, Nip will need to retake. But these are desperate times for Ninjas in Pyjamas. Deepak gets the plant off and can immediately pivot with Kanto standing by his side. It's the defenders now on the side of the attack, but Wizard casting a spell onto Rogue. Kanto Rakedi succumbs to it, and Musi takes down Deepak. Look at his face. Look at his face in the bottom right. Pino doesn't even break a sweat. A little bit of a prayer. Ninjas in Pyjamas take the lead.
That right there is exactly how NIP felt when they lost the round. They should have won earlier. Now Rogue, they get to struggle with this themselves. A round that they shouldn't have won became so winnable off the end of Deepak and Kanto. Most notably, Kanto on the initial entry. Last bullet gets the kill in the chamber. Then Deepak found the second. Bomb goes down. It looked really possible for Rogue to win the round. The duo of NIP. They made it happen. They made it work. They found both kills. Wizard and Moosey, I believe. Good bait for one another. Shooting out bullets, covering the sound. And then peeking together in that 2 versus 1. Daypick had the DMR. It's a tough spot to be in. Now Rogue, they're fighting both the round count. They're also fighting the disadvantageous side as defenders seem to have the upper hand right now on Villa in this particular matchup. But they're also fighting the mental. They need this victory against NIP, and they want to do it in regulation to make things better for themselves. We just spoke about how when you attack a bomb site once, you see the setup, and if nothing changes, you should have a really clear idea of what to do. This setup from NIP is the exact same as before. 1 shield top red, 2 ADSs, Barber on the staircase. No shield top main, but 3 roamers down below with a bunch of rotation holes. Wizard and Moosey. And they have Psycho buff with vertical assistance on the Aruni that can do those punches. Rogue last time attacked straight on first floor. This time, complete opposite story. They're gonna challenge Master Bedroom, Trophy, Statue. Then they're gonna try and clear that shield top red and fight Pino on that staircase. Pino, right now in the bathroom, looking for a easy picking, but a good drone from Rogue finds his whereabouts and he's forced back towards the bomb set to safety. He does not want to overstay his welcome and end up getting taken out early because NIP, they're playing for numbers, they're playing for time. Pino back into safety.
Well, the key to success for Rogue almost always seems to be Deepak on these drones. And
yeah. If you miss a member of NIP in the corner, that's it. You're going to lose 1 or 2 members just like that.
Yeah. Oftentimes, you give the spotlight to players like Leon Gids, like Kanto Raketti, like Spoit, on the other side of things, Musi and Pino. But it's the support players that really do deserve a ton of praise, and they're the unsung heroes a lot of these rounds. Kanto Raketti, I don't know if he was droned in or not, but obviously not successful. Psycho with the very first kill. Again, Ninjas in Pyjamas with the opening pick. Of these 10 rounds of action, 8 of them have Psycho and co. getting the very first kill. That is not a great statistic for Rogue, to say the least. They have only had an advantage in 2 rounds to start with. Despite that, they've been able to overcome it, but it doesn't set you up for success, that's for sure.
No, it does not, and I mean, sure, we've gotten top red control, Pino's back towards the bomb side, we have 9D in control as well, but now we gotta start working our angles. This vault wall has to get opened up. That's step 1 done from Leon Gids. That's gonna give you an aggressive angle and entry point in towards vault. What it also does is that it forces the defenders out of that particular room, and a plan can be established. But Pino holding down his angle could be lethal. He sees a pixel of a member of Rogue, forced to walk backwards, with Leon Gids with an aggressive injury here. Pino has to fight 1 and 2 members at once, but Leon Gids will come out on top.
There goes bullets being flown into the bomb site. Rogue getting soft enough time and time again. Look at how close Deepak is to death. He's a shadow of himself. Claymore goes out, but Rogue has turned the tides out of nowhere. Kamikaze now to be the one who could be on a suicide mission against these 3 players of Rogue. Leon Gids with diffuser in hand, getting it down. Kamikaze outside of the bomb site. Rogue had boxed him out, but then over towards Vault. Spoit his gun down. Deepak on low HP. Leon Gids sitting on top of the diffuser. But the time will run against Kamikaze. What can he accomplish? He's only mere feet away. On diffuser. No smokes. He'll jiggle around the corner, but Leon Gids is swift enough. What a comeback from Rogue. Things looked dire until they didn't. And suddenly, we've got a tie game yet again.
That is one of those rounds that are just a coin flip, right? Leon Gids wins the gunfight on the entry. Success. A member of NIP flanks the red stairs, finds a Claymore. Success for Rogue again. Any of those 2 things go differently, that entire round changes because red flank would have been vulnerable for Rogue. Leon Gids would have died, who had diffuser, to Pino, and then Pino could use the shotgun and second member of Daypack. So many tiny details here, really swaying the favor. And NIP now taking their tactical timeout on 5-5 scoreline, saying, guys, we gotta change something up. Maybe talk about that Living Library bomb side. Maybe try and figure out what your approach is. Play super aggressive. Maybe that works better. Because when Rogue's allowed to just play that basic execute where they clean out the areas like normal, that's when they just found success. Whereas when you're forced into chaos for Rogue, into those weird gunfights by being challenged by an IP, that's where they seem to fall against them. Timeout ends. 7 seconds to the bomb site. Trophy right now being hovered by an IP. Bring out the castle again. Probably going to signify that same master bedroom setup.
Well, Not opting to go back to the same place twice in a row for Nip. Keep Rogue on their toes, why not? It's a perfectly viable strategy to do just that. Rogue will have the opportunity to carve up this defense based on what they want when they go to attacker repick, so there's flexibility there on their end. Things are locked in for the defenders, and this will be a utility soak style of setup. You got mute jammers to steal some utility away in terms of drones and information. You've got the castle barricades to steal utility along with the magnets. Got deployable shields on the board, 2 of them, and a bulletproof camera as well. I wonder if a Flores could potentially be seen to deal with this, as explosives will be a requirement for Rogue, but instead they're going with a very similar lineup with Cryan on this Nook and Deepak on the Dokkaebi. So explosives still being brought because Nook has access to 2 frag grenades. I mean, there's 6 grenades in total on the board for Rogue, so there are explosives there, but just not the way that you would usually think. And grenades are not always used to clear utility. You prefer to kill from below or directly, maybe flush them out, as we saw Nip do a couple times masterfully when they were on attack. Toss a grenade in. It's not going to get the kill, but it's going to force the defender into a position that is unsavory, and then you, the attacker, can pick them off.
You also can circumvent ADSs and Magnus, of course, by going below, because they can't reach, and Injure comes out to sport, but they fall back straight away. Pino's going to say, I'll take that trade, but when you're up against the Finka and you don't have a Thunderbird on the table, we spoke about this earlier, chip damage. Well, Sport can get back to above half HP. Pino is stuck on 20. So when you do a trade like that, arguably for the defenders, not worth it unless you got the Thunderbird or a Dock on the board. But seeing as neither is here, Sport can play it slow, use the Adrenal Searches, get back to a somewhat healthy level, and then Pino will just stay where he is. Pino does have a C4, could go below and play it smart and safe and just kind of play for himself downstairs. But Cryan, see his silhouette, he's looking for that exact thing. Droning out Dining Kitchen, droning out the China Stairs, looking for where this roamer is of Wizard. He's going to go downstairs to the basement, and now, at this point, you're just going to say, have fun, buddy. We're not going to look for you downstairs at our Jackal. That is too much to track, too much ground to cover. Nate comes out, Psycho takes a bit of damage. NIP under fire from all angles, but Moosey might have the advantage here.
Depends on whether or not they've droned him out. He catches Kanto Raketti, and it only takes a single bullet to remove the head of your opponent. Ninjas in Pyjamas. Once again, another first blood. Rogue struggling mighty in this department, and it doesn't get any better in round number 11. Deployable shield will prevent Leon Gids from being able to see through that portion of the master bedroom, but doesn't stop him from fragging out, as Pino is his intended target. And it's a success from the 10-5 Leon Gids. It's about time we brought back that copy pasta, but let's see how he fares over the next 2 rounds.
It's an important round for Rogue to pressure match point, but it's equally so for NIP, and Leon gets now solo on this master bedroom hold, has to make a miracle happen as he pushes on through.
This was looking at the stack up from Rogue, not working out so well. Another kill from Leon. Cryan missing an opportunity as Spoit guns down Psycho. Diffuser in the hands of Deepak goes down well. Kamikaze again boxed out. He found himself in this exact same set of circumstances when he was defending on Aviator. Will there be a different outcome? Kamikaze with one on the Leon Gates. Wizard on the comeback. Suddenly Nip have made this eminently more winnable, especially with Spoit being on low HP. He and Deepak are watching the same angle. Kamikaze swings, but Spoit is better, and Deepak pushes Rogue to match point.
We might just have overtime on our hands. We are so close. This is 1 round for a regulation Rogue victory, or 1 round NIP forces overtime. Regulation makes the outcome very simple and straightforward. If we go into overtime, that's where every single round is going to be a massive defining factor in the outcome for both of these teams. Rogue are getting loud. They're bringing the energy. They're saying we're going to take this round as well. When you're in this situation as a professional player, being on the attack can be so mentally difficult, because when you're attacking in Rainbow Six Siege, you gotta do all the moves. You gotta get inside the building with confidence, take the confrontations with confidence, look for solutions to the issues at hand, problem solve, communicate, etc. When you're in defense, you could practically sit in a corner and wait for something to happen, and if nothing happens, well, clock runs out. You win on time. Happy daisy, just like that. So Rogue really has a lot to prove right now. Last time they attacked this bomb site of kitchen dining, they were struggling with problem solving. They could not get through the first floor because of verticality. They did not take the top floor successfully. They were forced with a desperate push from Daypeg and Kento in towards the bomb site doors alone, and somehow made it work. They got the plant down. It's a 2v2. It was Wizard and Moosey became victorious in that round with a successful retake.
I have an urgent update before we get into the
Urgent
action.
update.
Should Nip beat Rogue, it indeed would be all 4 LATAM teams making it out of groups
Okay.
for the first time ever at a major.
Okay.
So we were correct. I do think the technicality might be SI when there's 5 to 6 LATAM teams present. There were 5 LATAM teams present in 2022, 6 LATAM teams in 2021, if memory serves me correctly.
Okay.
I would argue that SI 2021 was the most impressive showing that we've ever seen from Brazilian teams.
Yes. I would agree. I guess you can say the most amount of teams qualified at a major or like major event ever compared to how many teams there is present at the event, so to speak, right? It's all 4 teams essentially.
Right. It would be the first time that every team from the region does it. Hey, look what Rogue has managed to do! An opening pick!
It's been a
Down
while.
goes Musey.
It's been a hot minute since we've seen that from Rogue.
Musey's the top fragger on Nip as well and has been instrumental on attack. On defense, the rest of the team has been, I would say, far more evenly balanced, but still, that's a massive blow. Spoit involved in his own fight, but he'll heal himself back up with an adrenal surge. If Rogue wins this matchup, they're on to the playoffs. That's it. Nip's chances are gone. Nil, done, zilch, nada, zip. So for Ninjas in Pyjamas, you got to hope you go to overtime, and then that's where that fun graphic comes back up, where we talk about what happens for Nip here and what happens in their matchup against Xset. For Rogue, their final match of the day, will they be the team from Europe to clinch their spot and make it into the playoffs? Wolves could also clinch a spot, but we'll see. Rogue working through Memorial Nick with 1 minute to go. Utility going out, Cryin taking damage. He's already got a kill to his name. Down goes Psycho to Deepak. Deepak putting in a lot of work in terms of his gadgetry, in terms of his utility and objective play. Kanto Raketti a kill. Leon Gidd's getting Diffuser down. Wizard from above doing damage, but no! Kanto slaughters him for the playoffs. Pino will need to stop Rogue, or else the European team will move forward and play on the stage. There's 2 from Pino, dislodged from a grenade. Still inside a pantry, but he's trapped. He needs to get out of there, because right now, he's just stuck in the cage. Spoit punches the tickets. Rogue go to the playoffs. They'll be on stage on Friday.
With only a couple of changes to this roster, notably Spoit joining along. The lads have done it. They're going to playoffs. They've achieved what was their dream for this stage.
Well, every region represented on the stage now. 1 playoff spot remains. We say goodbye to Ninjas in Pyjamas, the only Latin American team to not make it out of the groups. I mean, if you're a Nip fan, you're going to be upset.
Yeah.
But if you're a fan of LATAM and you are a sophisticated LATAM enjoyer, you will be very happy, because 3 of those teams will go on, and if they get eliminated, hey, you can always cheer for Xset. They got 3 Brazilians on the roster. Are they technically in there? Ooh. Deepak with a nice butt slap onto Leon. That is the type of camaraderie we like to see. Ladies, gentlemen, non-binary folks, we are going to throw to a break and then come back and talk about the newest addition to the playoffs, Rogue.
right to leave Rainbow. We are stronger than we've ever been, and our new recruits legitimize us in the eyes of many skeptics. What is a high price tag when success is guaranteed? Our results speak for themselves and give us leeway to operate as we wish. The world is not designed to foster talent. Fall in line. Do what is expected of you. In my life, I've often found that the great rarely fit traditional standards. When you confine excellence, it suffocates. Ace, wall down in 5. Thinker, prepare for a rush. In removing these restraints, I have redefined what an operational unit can be. Forward, now! Go, 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 go! Some might see us as selfish and opportunistic. Let them. Nighthaven will leave them in the dust as we saw.
Well, this group has been settled, Nicholas.
Yeah.
Rogue with a 7-5 victory over Ninjas in Pyjamas send the only Brazilian team home from the groups. The other 3 teams, their region mates, have all made it onto the big stage. Nip will be watching from the stands. Rogue, representing Europe, will be playing on stage here in Berlin on Friday. Guaranteed at least one best of 3, but for fans from here, they're going to be hoping for so much more. They join G2. Who had already qualified to represent Europe. So EU will have 2 teams and could potentially have a third as well to match LATAM. Here's what the group looks like in case you're curious.
Bada bing, bada boom. Exit leading the ranks with 12 points right now. They've still got one more game to play in not too long from now. Next game, that is. Rogue and Lemon, they are done and dusted. That's it. And NIP, of course, in Dawankia, they're stuck on, well, they're not stuck on 6 and 4. NIP is stuck, so to speak, but Dawankia is stuck with that. NIP can still get some points, but it won't matter.
You still a little faith in Nip that you think they're stuck at 6 points already, even though they have a whole other match to play.
I was more meaning that they won't matter if they get more points because they're still behind, but they can they can get 9 points.
Biased caster.
Also,
Biased caster.
worth noting, Parker, before you come in biased caster for a 4th time,
Don't say
that.
He doesn't like that.
I'm a LATAM enjoyer, okay? I predicted FaZe to do well, they did. Exit to do well, they did, because Exit's half Portuguese, right? Half Brazilian. And also, even for seeding, it won't matter, because Exit's locked in 1st place, Rogue's locked in 2nd, so the next match is all for bragging rights, if you will.
Correct.
Yeah.
There will be no movement here whatsoever.
That's it.
Damwon Kia cannot escape dead last in the group with 4 points. Rogue cannot escape 2nd in the group with 11. Xset can go from 12 to 15 points, but it's not going to change the numbers that you saw on your screen. Even a resounding victory for Ninjas in Pyjamas here. A 7-0 means absolutely nothing. So bragging rights is correct. No movement, no change in SI points, no change in pay as well, because you get awarded a bigger cut of the prize pool based on where you finish. Nothing. These 2 teams are literally just playing for funsies. So we're going to get to that match in just a moment. We have a break ready for you, and then we'll come back with Xset versus Ninjas in Pyjamas.